to Campbell Kitchen. Today I'm going to show you how to cook lamb. This is a beautiful lamb rack, and I love cooking these things, except for my wife doesn't like them. So I only cook them when she's away. Stay tuned. So I'll usually cut 2 chops per person. There's about 4 portions here, but sometimes this bone right here doesn't really lend itself to much meat. So you can see these 2 bones, they go straight down. So I'm just gonna make a cut right through there. My knife should be able to fit right in between the chine bone that they sawed away. I'm gonna go pretty close to the bone because there's this excess meat, and if I went this way, it would just be a humongous chop and these 2 bones wouldn't get much meat. So I go pretty close to the bone, straight down, all the way through. Just like that. Then you have your beautiful lamb chop. Next thing people like to do, sometimes they'll French this lamb a little more, but if you're cooking for a friend, you don't have to worry about it. I actually really enjoy that fat a lot, but if you are gonna French it, I would suggest using a knife that you don't really care much about, cutting right below that eye. So we'll go right here, straight across, all the way through. Just kind of angle your knife like so. And there you have it, guys. A Frenched lamb rack, really clean bones, looks really elegant, a nice beautiful eye of meat. And this is a beautiful portion for 1 person. So this is perfect. And this is what we'll get started with. However, I would recommend for most people out there to not bother Frenching. Let's cut another piece off. You can see there's excess meat right here. So that means we're gonna go close to the bone right here, all the way down. And you can see the difference here. You can see how the Frenched looks versus the non-Frenched or partially Frenched. It looks much more elegant, especially when it's on a plate. You can cross the bones, and I'll show you that. And I'll show you guys another preparation that's really easy. Use a little Dijon, put it on top of the lamb, grab yourself some breadcrumbs. I use panko, I'm not a sponsor, but I really like panko. And spread the Dijon all around the lamb. You can use a lot if you love Dijon, and if you don't care much for Dijon, just use a little bit. It acts as glue to have those breadcrumbs stick to the meat. So use your fingers and your hand and just really get in there and squish those breadcrumbs into the meat. And they're gonna stick, and it's gonna leave you with a nice, evenly coated piece of lamb. Now, cooking the lamb with the breadcrumbs first. You want to start with a medium heat pan. You don't want it really hot, otherwise it's going to burn the breadcrumbs instantly. So you want a medium to medium high heat, and you just want to toast up those breadcrumbs. You can see they're getting a little golden brown. Now I'm going to flip the lamb on its side, and I'm going to just toast up those breadcrumbs. Flipping once the breadcrumbs get nice and golden, not too dark, usually about 1.5 minutes, 2 minutes on each side. So just toast up all sides of the lamb, and that's going to leave you with a beautifully toasted breadcrumb coated lamb, and that's ready to go in the oven. For those of you wanting to cook a lamb chop the classic way, season it up with salt and pepper. Get yourself a hot pan, a good amount of oil, and start searing each side. I start with the bone, and then I'm just going to rotate it around. Now it's important to note that lamb itself is actually very lean. So if you get a really dark sear on that lean meat, that meat's going to be really dry and chewy. So I like to give it about 1 minute each side in that hot pan, and I just rotate multiple times. That will avoid it getting too much color and getting too dry. It's also important to render out that fat. You can see there's a little bit of fat towards the bottom of the chop. You really want to render that out. Now that you have nice color, add a piece of cold butter to your pan and spoon that hot butter where the lamb needs to cook the most, which is right in between those chops. So spoon, spoon, spoon. That's going to give you beautiful flavor, beautiful color, and it's ready to go in the oven. Place it in the oven, 450 degrees, 10 minutes. Let it rest for about 10 minutes. I temped it, it was about 130. After 10 minutes resting, I'm going to give it a slice right in half. And here's the breadcrumb coated lamb chop. It took no longer than the other lamb chop, maybe 1 minute longer, super easy. And you can see it's beautiful pink, gorgeous. And the other lamb chop, without breadcrumbs, I cut right through, and it's pink all the way through. And it's just not rare, not well done, It's a beautiful piece of meat. Super tasty. Now I just kind of rummaged around in my refrigerator and I put together a dish. I had a little bit of tahini sauce that I mixed with lemon and garlic. I had a little eggplant that I crisped up in some olive oil. And those flavors just work really well with lamb. You can use any vegetables that you have or cook it however you'd like. And you just put the lamb right on the plate. And I just finished with a couple marinated olives that I have in my refrigerator. And there you have it. It's a beautiful composed dish you can have for dinner, you can have for lunch. Very elegant looking. You can obviously pair this with any ingredient you want. I'm just showing you how easy it is to make a composed dish that looks very elegant and nice. And as you can see, I had a couple eggplant hanging around. I decided to just crisp those up real quick and easy. I had a little tahini sauce that I mixed with garlic and lemon juice. I put that on the plate and I had some marinated olives. This whole thing probably took me 25-30 minutes, really easy. I can't emphasize enough how important it is to let your lamb rest after it comes out of the oven. Let it rest until it's almost cool to the touch. You don't want it to be burning. I use the back of my finger, I feel the lamb by the bone, and if it's not ripping hot and doesn't burn you, then that's what you want. After crisping up each side, I cooked it in the oven for about 10 minutes. After taking it out of the oven, I let it rest for about another 8 minutes. That bone retains a lot of heat, and once that bone kind of cools down and that heat kind of dissipates throughout the meat, it really gets a nice, beautiful cook and leaves you with a beautiful medium to medium rare. That's how I like my lamb. Not too rare, but not well done either. A nice, beautiful pink. Give these recipes a try. Let me know how they turn out.